We're about to do some raises. We have to add a new field and do some data entry. First, we're going to go back into the design view. And I'm going to type in raise. And it's going to be a number. Now, you could put a comment here, and I could say something like 2018 raises for staff. Doesn't show up anywhere, but it's what we call documentation. We got to do a little bit of work down in here. We go into here. We want this to appear as percentages. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the drop down arrow here. I'm going to say double format. I'm going to make this a percent. Decimal places, I'm going to leave that as auto. I'm going to save, go back into data entry. So I'm going to put in some numbers here. 3.5, 4.25, 3.2%. And we might say this one did a great job, 7%. We just typed in the number here. And now the last one will be for Fred, 4%. We don't need to save here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to be doing a query with a calculation. And I'm going to close out of this, okay? I'm going to go into queries. Create, query design. And I'm going to be doing, based on the elves with their raises, I'm just using the elf table. And I'm just going to say close. And I'm going to put in the elf. I don't need his number. I'm just going to put the name, the salary, the raise. Okay? If I were to run it at this point, it shows the information. You could always widen the columns here so you could see things better. And then I'm going to go back into here. And I want to create a calculated field. What it is. We're going to call it the amount of raise. Then we're going to do new salary. And to do this, you can literally type things in. You can use the expression builder. I like typing things in. It's actually pretty easy. So I'm going to type in raise AMT. Hit the colon. Now what it is, it's salary times, which is the asterisk, raise. And this means it's showing. I'm going to say run. It's showing their raise amounts, which is good. We can format this. Go back here. To do this, you right click any place inside the column. And what you do is you click on properties. We go into format. And we can make it currency. Run the query again. Looks a lot nicer. And now I'm going to say new salary. So that's going to be based on the raise amount. I'm going to save this query because if things are going good, save it. You blow it up. You can close it out without saving. So I'm going to call this new salary. So what I want to do now, I'm going to add raise amount to the salary because they're getting a little increase, okay? Next thing, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say new salary, colon. And then I could say salary plus raise amount. And now I run the query. It's showing the new salary, okay? Now let's say I'm printing this out or displaying this for somebody. I don't need to show the last three columns or the middle three columns. I go into here. I close this out. Uncheck this. Uncheck this. Run it. It's saying raise amount here. It should not have done that, but I'm just going to say okay. I made a mistake. I'm going to go back into here. I'm just going to display this, see what happens here. Now it's showing it. This is 2016. there are a few changes between this and the 2013. I'm just going to save this thing again. I'm surprised that it won't let me hide this. But what I want to do, I'm going to add a little bonus to this. Let's say you're going to create a report based on this. Okay, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to be basing a report based on the new salary. I click on here. I click on create. Do you see where it says report? It shows a thing here. I don't need this right now. And then I could call this in here. I could just, it's like a text box. And I could say salaries for next year. It has today's date when I'm preparing this here. And it has the names here, the raise amounts here. But if I don't need to show that column here, what I'm going to do, I hit the delete. I click in here. I hit the delete. So it's just showing the name, new salary. It's saying how many people I have here. I don't really need that. I click on that box. You got a couple of views in here. I'm going to right click inside here. You are in the layout view. You have the report view, which is what you hand in to the personnel director or Santa or whoever. I want to tweak this a little more. You have the design view here. This looks a little scary. It isn't bad. Let's say I don't need the page number here. I could click on this thing here. I could delete it. But let's say I don't want this ugly graphic here. I could delete it. I could change. Actually, I want a capital Y here. And let's say I want to change the font. I can click right on the board. I can click outside here. Click right on it. I click on the Format tab. And I can make it red. Make it a big font. 24. Bold. I could change the font to something like Airstrike. It's a little too narrow now. Watch this. I click inside here. Click off of it. It's like a little box here. Sometimes it works better when I go into here. I right click inside here. I'm going to go into layout view. I click here. I can stretch it now. A few tricks. You get used to it with time. You can do formatting in here. I click in name, new salary, Control B to bold. It doesn't really show up as bold, does it? Format. It's bold, trust me. But I don't need that line there. I can hit the delete key here. So I've got the report here. If I want to change the font, make it bigger, I click here, hold down the control key, and then I can make the font. I go over here. It might come out weird. It actually comes out fine here. I've got everything working really good. You got the report. You want this to fit on the page. Move things around. You can always do the undo, but you've got a report. I'm going to do a save. It says new salary. It's based on that query here, and I could keep that name, or I could call it salaries for next year. Say OK. It shows it there. I can print it out. This is the beauty here. Watch this. I'm going to close out of this here. For your name, see how it's 36225. I'm going to go into the ELF. I'm going to change this to, let's say, 8%. Now watch this. I'm going to close out of this. New salary. You can see a big difference in the salary here, $2,800. I open up the report. It's showing the correct number there. It's all linked. Another example here, like I never put in my name in that ELF table. And it says your name. I type in Alan. Close this out. Open up salaries for next year. And it says, Alan, I'm getting $37,800. And I can see this one little thing here. The date here is a little messed up. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to right click inside the tab. I'm going to go into design view. And I'm going to pull this down a bit. I can pull this down. It's really, you got to get that little arrow with the 4 daggers behind it. Or you could stretch this down, which is not what I wanted to do. And you can see it's a little tricky. There we go. Got it to work. Now I'm going to hit the preview here. Print preview. Now I have to move the dates in. I go back here. I'll be honest, when you're doing this in a class, be patient. You're not going to get perfection. I'm just going to go right click in here. I'm going to go into design view. And what I want to do now, because it's going off the page, trying to move these in. What I would probably do, believe it or not, get this on 2 lines. 4. So I got that. I can narrow this. There we go. This is in here. I go into print preview. Wider than the page width. It's actually showing up here. What I did here, I stretched the borders here. Last thing, not trying to bore you, I'm going to go back into design view here, and you'd have to go into the margins here, pull it in. It's going way over to 16 inches. Well, I did something before, woo. So it's usually about 8.5 inches wide. I'll just drag it to here. Right click, print preview, greater than the page width here. But what it is here, it's going here. It is fitting on one page. It's not going into any other. So we've got the thing. You'll learn how to tweak things as you go along.